Okay, so this is like the 20th time I've tried to record this video, so the subject is Top 10 Worst Deathcore Bands video by Sombrerozilla. 10 to 1, I'm going to go through each band and I'm going to try and turn his opinion around. I'm not going to attack him or anything like that. This is just my personal opinion on his opinion. So first band, Chelsea Grin. His key point was that they have 3 guitars and one does chugging a lot. Okay, so what? If 2 guitarists do chugging and 1 guitarist does a solo, you're gonna have that nice nitty-gritty raw sound that 2 guitarists doing chugs or breakdowns sounds like. And a lot of times they actually do a lot of technical stuff. People can talk shit on their new EP all they want. I don't really care. I like Alex's singing voice. Number 9 on the list, I Declare War. His point was that they sound a lot like Chelsea Grin, which is not true, because I Declare War does a lot more lows than Chelsea Grin does, and Chelsea Grin does a lot more highs than they do. And I don't even think I Declare War has 3 guitars. Quick backtrack. Knocking on Chelsea Grin is just like knocking on Whitechapel. Whitechapel has 3 guitars, and something that Whitechapel and Chelsea Grin have in common is that the third guitarist is there to also do vocals, while also adding that raw punch that you hear a lot. Next on the list, the leaders of the deathcore genre. Number 8, Suicide Silence. You attack them, but I think they have definitely come the farthest out of every single band out there. They're very original. I've never really heard anything that sounds like them. A lot of people say that they sound like a lot of bands, and they also like to compare them to another band on the list, which I'll bring up later. The first album was recorded live, The Cleansing. They did it all. They mic'd their instruments and they recorded it and they played it and it sounded good. Everybody loved it. It hooked everybody. The next album was kind of them dicking around in the studios because it was their first studio album, and that's No Time to Bleed. You can't really rag on that album because it was their first time in the studio, and they, I think, really held it together and did a solid job. And then there was The Black Crown. That was their second time in the studio. That was really good. I didn't like it at first until I watched the behind the scenes when they talked about the album and how they were trying to get a little more complicated with their stuff. And I agree, and I think it's good. He said that they were crap, brownish hue, silence is golden, blah blah blah. No, they're not crap, and I'm pretty sure everybody disagrees, or mostly everybody. Next on the list, number 7, Dr. Acura. He really attacks their name, and apparently that they call themselves grindcore, which they don't, that I've ever heard. The name's original. Apparently it came from a TV show or something. I don't know what TV show. Adding a period in his face is just enough to make it original anyway, just because it's Dr. Acula. So what? How can you rag on a band's name? It's their quality that's more important. As far as the grindcore thing goes, if you listen to the album below me, they have a song called Chakra on Shock Street. As far as I've heard, I don't know if they have older material, but Chakra on Shock Street was definitely the most grindcore song I've ever heard from them, and I think it would put them in the grindcore genre for that song at least. Next on the list, I completely agree with his opinion. This band definitely sucks. Number 6, Iwabo, or I've Wrestled a Band Once. I think they're complete shit. She blew out her vocal cords and now has to use pedals to perform on shows. If you can't do shows without pedals for vocals or effects or whatever, then you shouldn't do it. They're all over the place. I hate them now. They suck. Next on the list, Shredded Wheat Metal, Waking the Cadaver. The whole idea that they're Shredded Wheat Metal came from a parody video of Chased Through the Woods by a Rapist, where everybody thought he was saying shredded wheat over and over. He was actually saying sweet labial meat, which is complete bullshit, and they are definitely a brutal band. I'm surprised they're in the deathcore genre, considering they do a lot of pig squealing. Next on the list, this really hurt me. This was a tie between Emmure and Acacia Strain. I don't really listen to Acacia Strain, but from what I've heard, I actually do like some of their stuff a little bit. But I still don't listen to them that much. I love Emmure. The whole idea was to take, I guess you could say, rap and mix it in with deathcore. the reason they do a lot of breakdowns is because they're doing what rap does, where they're making a good beat that can be repeated and you can lay track over and do, pretty much anything with the lyrics. And that's what I really like about them, and it's really hard to get out of sync as far as headbanging goes because it's a repetitive beat. There's a specific point where you can drop your head and it stays in time with the music. Third on the list, Winds of Plague. He said that the keyboards were a problem and then it made it sound like shit. Like, it was good until the keyboards came in. And he compared them to Born Over Cyrus. I really don't think you can compare them to Born Over Cyrus because they do it completely differently. They definitely hit home as far as like hip hop and rap goes. Johnny actually likes hip hop and rap a lot, and he is the vocalist. As far as keyboard goes, the way they implemented it is extremely original, and I can't really think how anybody could think it isn't original or that it sounds like shit, because they don't usually take the keyboards and just mash it into the guitar and hope it sounds good. They really plot it out and they really focus on it really hard. One really big surprise about them, which will probably turn his opinion a little bit on them, is that they play in E standard. How can they be so brutal in playing E standard? You can ask that all you want. But when I sat down and put my guitar in E standard and played, I really focused on it and thought about it and realized that it can be extremely brutal playing in E. I can't really think of any other bands that do that, but it was really impressive when I found out. Definitely makes them 100% original. Next on the list, I guess you could say this band has fallen far from the tree, and that's Bring Me the Horizon. A lot of people like to compare Suicide Silence's Mitch Lucker to Alex Sykes of Bring Me the Horizon. I heard Suicide Season before I heard Pray for Plagues, when they went from being real heavy to doing a little more singing. I think Ollie actually blew out his vocal cords because of Pray for Plagues, but I don't know for sure. But even still, they did good, and they were really kind of all over the place. Like, they hit, especially when they got to There's a Hell, and yeah, There's a Heaven, Let's Keep It Secret. They did thrashy songs, they did really heavy songs, they did stuff that would sound like Suicide Season, Pray for Plagues. They were really good and like all over the place with that, and I liked that about them because it made it original. Last band on the list, and I really don't have much to say about them because I've never listened to them. I don't want to give them a chance because their name really sounds like an orphanage for seeing kids. Design the Skyline. I probably never will listen to them. I have no interest in listening to them, and it's strictly because of the name. Pretty sure if I gave them a chance, I might like them, but I have no interest in listening to them. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I didn't actually finish watching the video because the rest was about Design the Skyline. If it had been Suicide Silence, Winds of Plague, Attila, any other bands like that, I probably would have finished watching it just so I'd be raging pissed and probably would have attacked him very thoroughly and said something along the lines of ripping out his throat. But I'm not that violent of a person, so I probably wouldn't have done it anyway. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope you liked the video. I hope I managed to turn Sombrerozilla's opinion around about some of these bands. I really think you should give them a second chance and just think about the complexity of the bands a little bit more. And yeah, have a good night.